In 17 EE, radio contact is re-established between sanctuaries as radiation in the atmosphere subsides, and it brings with it a sense of unity and security, as survivors realize they are not alone. Air travel is still impossible due to constant atmospheric upheaval, but land exploration has been in progress since the end of the first decade. Failing sanctuaries are given aid if they accept the rules for survival. There is some violence, but lone sanctuaries have little ability to mount attacks on prepared sites, and if they refuse the rules, they are left to fend for themselves. As Trog population expands, dead and deserted facilities will be recovered for use. Attempts to re-establish them with surface survivors are minimally successful. In the sanctuaries, survivors have started calling themselves Humanus Troglodytes, or troglodytes, which is a name for prehistoric cave dwellers. The name becomes popular and reinforces the sense of unity and fraternity among sanctuary inhabitants around the globe. Much of the material used in Trog manufacturing is salvaged from the remains of what was human civilization, and new techniques are discovered which break down steel and plastic to their atomic components and fuses them into a composite with incredible strength and flexibility. By 36 EE, Guardians are in many advisory positions and control radio communication. They use their power to initiate the formation of a sanctuary federation. Former cultural differences are put aside in favor of species survival. The rules are universally accepted. In 86 CE, the first magnetic pulse engine is tested. It utilizes the energy of gravitational waves for power. The saucer shape is used because with the wild fluctuations in the magnetic poles and continuing atmospheric upheaval, it is the most stable form for air travel. With its development, trade between sanctuaries is initiated. After the MP is tested, all direct Earth space Trog flights are suspended so as to prevent detection. 4 generations of underground living have already led to significant changes in human appearance. Body hair is rapidly disappearing, and bald is becoming the norm for both sexes. Eyes are becoming larger to catch more detail in the dim light of the sanctuaries. Nostrils have widened and are developing covering flaps to cope with the dust in the underground environment. Body size is smaller because of space and nutritional limitations. The lack of sunlight has turned skin pigmentation to a pale, ashy gray. Language in near-dark conditions has evolved also. English is the base for common communication, but there are also tactile and olfactory signals which contribute to language development. In 94 EE, the Unity Council is formed. All sanctuaries join. The alternative is isolation. Guardians have top roles and continue to guide Trog development. The rules apply to all. All resources are shared equally. Individual control of resources is no longer allowed. Achievement brings recognition. Recognition is reward. Recognition is status. Since the onset of the extermination event, water has been obtained from underground aquifers, but concern is growing, and in 99 EE, the Dwarf Planet series is chosen for the first exploratory expedition to check for a new source. The trip is successful, and water mining of the Dwarf Planet begins. Various smaller icy bodies are also discovered in the asteroid belt, and mag-pulse engines are used to generate a field that draws them behind the ships, which guide them into orbit around Earth for use. By 114 EE, mag-pulse engines have been refined and are now capable of achieving near light speed. A ship is sent to Pluto and back. The trip is 5 billion plus miles, and at light speed would take almost 6 hours. The return is 3.2 hours earlier than expected, and ETs realize they have developed a form of time travel. As a ship travels towards an object at near light speed, it gains ground on the light waves issuing from that object. This gain is represented in time. In 127 EE, cryostasis is developed, and long-term time travel is now a possibility. Guardian influence leads to the development of a plan by the Unity Council to send 2 great ships back in time. Their mission is to 1. Begin terraforming asteroids to provide Trogs with refuge when Earth habitation becomes unsupportable, and 2. Protect the timeline. It will take a great deal of resources and energy, but it is known that the situation on planet Earth will not improve for 5 to 10,000 years, and survival of the species is not guaranteed no matter what is done. An extra 150 to 200 years of preparation, using the resources of an undamaged planet, could make a difference in species survival and is the deciding factor. Construction has begun on 2 motherships, and they are built in orbit using bases on the near side of the Moon. The Space Trog Farside base deep in the Babakan crater has been long abandoned and the entrance covered. It is not discovered. In 212 EE, the first mothership is completed. It is called Adam, as it is to be the seed of Trog survival. Adam contains a crew of 60,000 and is sent on mission back to the early 1900s, the Machine Age. Adam collides with Pioneer 11 in transit and is lost. The Guardians are well aware of Adam's fate, but are unable to do anything without violating the basic law of time travel. They view it as a validation of the timeline. Adam fulfills its destiny as it becomes the seed for humanity with the extinction of the dinosaurs. Mothership Eve is completed 14 years later and is launched in 226 EE in Operation Survival. MS Adam and MS Eve have the same operating procedures. Ship operation requires 5,000 personnel to be awake at any one point in time. Individuals serve a 1-year tour of duty and go back into cryo for 2 to 3 years until their next shift rotation. The rotations are staggered so that no individual works with the same personnel over 2 shifts in order to minimize friction and maintain harmony during the 240 years the trip would take. The mothership contains 3 types of smaller craft. These are Saucer for research data collecting, Dome for heavy loads and mining, and Wing for survey and reconnaissance. When Eve is successfully launched, the space Trogs reveal themselves and the Earth Trogs are told everything concerning the mission. All resources are now turned to advancing the mission of terraforming the asteroids for the eventual Trog exodus from planet Earth.